Hi, and welcome back to the Y.E.S Fitness Longevity Podcast, where we give you insight on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better. I've got a few things to go over today with you. First, it's the 15th, January 15th already. The month is halfway over, and people might already be struggling to maintain the changes they are trying to make for 2019. It happens quickly. So I just would like to backtrack here a little bit, reel you in some, give you a little bit of help on how to get back on track if you're not on track, and get you going back in the right direction. If you are still on track and making the changes you plan to make, good for you. I'm proud of you. It's not easy to make change in life. So let's take a look at why we might not be making the changes we were looking to make. Number one, was our why strong enough to make those changes? The outcome goal, the thing that we want to achieve ultimately, is that something that really is that important to us to be able to maintain those small changes, those behavior goals that will result in the outcome goal. So the very first place you need to start is to go back to that why, the outcome goal. What is it that you really want to do, and is it really strong enough to help you to get to where you can make the changes that you're looking to make? The second thing to take a look at is the amount of changes that you're trying to make. Are they reasonable? Are they too many? Are they things that can actually be done? Keep in mind that when you make one change at a time, you're somewhere in the 85% success rate. When you try to make two changes, you come down into about 35% range. And when you go for three changes at one time, you go to single digits. It's nearly impossible. So are you trying to make too many changes at once? Should we just be stepping back and finding that one thing, that one change that's going to make the biggest difference? So if you're trying to make three changes and the other two aren't quite going to make as much of a difference as that one change, let's just take a look at that one change and try to be successful with that. Get that planned into our day. Sit down at the beginning of the week. Think about how we're going to implement that plan, whatever that plan may be, whether you need to sleep more, whether you need to de-stress more, whether you need to drink more water, maybe you need to have more vegetables, maybe you need more protein, maybe you need to eliminate something like stop drinking soda. Whatever it is, whatever that one thing that you need to do to change, take a look at that and go forward with that. So that's really the two things that I'm just going to talk to you about as far as getting those 2019 goals back on track. One, go back to the why. Is it strong enough to make those changes? Is it strong enough to help you get through those tough times? And two, are you trying to make too many changes at one time? Rather, make one change at a time. So one observation I have at this time of the year is we get some new clients. It's people thinking about getting fit again, looking in the mirror, extra pounds at the holidays, all the things that would drive someone back to exercising that has kept them from exercising. And the first observation I make is when someone comes in our door to exercise, they're always amazed at what really goes into a program. We don't just come in, get on a treadmill, walk for 5 minutes, and then go around a bunch of machines. We don't have you do, 50 squats. We have a program set up for you, and in that program, it's just one phase of 10 phases that's going to lead you to what your outcome goal is. So they're always very amazed at what actually goes into a program. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what goes into our programs and what makes us different than a gym, because we're not a gym, we're a coaching center. And the things that we do to really get you to where you want to go in the exercise portion of your process. So we start off with someone comes in. The very first thing that we do is we do some foam rolling. You may have seen foam rollers out there and around and wondering what they're for. Well, we start every exercise session off with foam rolling. So what foam rolling does for you is, excuse me, it starts to bring blood and nutrients into the muscles and starts to get waste product out of the muscles. It'll address trigger points or knots in a muscle. So for example, if a knot or a trigger point, a tightening of the muscle in one spot, it's overactive. If that spot continues, that muscle is going to get tight. And what's going to do is it's going to tell the opposite muscle to relax. So now we have an imbalance. One muscle is tight, one muscle is relaxing. So for example, if your hip flexors, the front of your thigh or the front of your hip gets tight from sitting all day, it's going to tell your backside to relax. You now have an imbalance and you may start to have some hip discomfort. So we try to go through the whole body, back of the legs, front of the legs, inner thigh, outer thigh, back sides, low back, upper back, chest, the whole body. We want to make sure that there's no overactive muscles, there's no trigger points, there's no knots that's going to stop you from moving correctly. You want So we got to make sure that the body's going to move the way we want the body to move. So we go through that. We take a look at foam rolling as like a cheap person's massage.
You're having an issue.
Am I back yet?
Nope. Okay.
So I know I skipped out for a second there, so I'm just going to back up some. We take a look at foam rolling at the beginning of every single workout. We look at it as a cheap person's massage. We go through the full body to make sure we don't have any trigger points or any knots that's going to stop us from moving correctly. Then we roll the bottom of our feet. It always freaks people out. We want you to roll the bottom of your foot. The nerves in the bottom of your foot innervate into the pelvis region and the lumbar spine. It's like reflexology a little bit, a cheap way of doing some reflexology. That can help with low back pain, stiffness, or discomfort. So we always do that at the beginning of every single workout. This really prepares the body and sets the body up for its workout. From that point, and that takes about 5 minutes or so. From that point, the second step is we start each workout out with some diaphragmatic breathing. People look at me and they say, wow, I've been breathing all day. I've been breathing for 45 years. I know how to breathe. But in essence, most people don't know how to breathe correctly. We want to work the diaphragm when we're breathing. That's going to help us to be able to breathe correctly. It's also going to relax the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is our fight and flight system. It kind of makes us nervous, kind of just tightens us up. And we want to try to relax that and activate the parasympathetic nervous system to relax the body. So again, the body will be able to move better during your workout. So we've already, in the first 5 minutes, we've done two things to help the body move better during your workout. We've done some foam rolling, and now we've done some diaphragmatic breathing. From that point, people are very surprised. I say, okay, we're now going to do 12 to 15 exercises in our warm-up. Just our warm-up is 12 to 15 exercises. So between our ramp and our foam rolling, our breathing, it takes us about 15 minutes to really prepare correctly for your workout. So why do we do so many exercises in what we call ramp, range of motion, activation, and movement prep? We do that for very specific reasons. First thing we do is some static stretching. We do some stretching, for example, the hip flexor stretch, the front of that hip region again, because we sit all day, so we're sitting bent over like this, and we want to make sure that the hip can open up nice and straight, the way it's supposed to be able to do it when we walk. So we start off maybe with some static stretching, the hip flexors, maybe the hamstrings, area of the bodies that are typically tightening on us over time, maybe the chest region, because we sit all day hunched over. Let's get that stretched out a little bit. And no, the body does not need to be all warmed up to do static stretching. Actually, the body will maintain its change in length if the muscle is cold rather than warm. And you're not going to pull a muscle by doing some static stretching, not completely warmed up. So we do static stretching in a more of a cold state than a warmed up state. From there, we're going to address some things that are going to help you move better. we start to destroy our movement patterns at kindergarten. At kindergarten is when we really start to destroy our body's movement patterns. Think about this. When we're born and we become babies, babies can sit in a perfect squat. They can sit in a perfect squat all day long. Perfect form. And that's because the body is still moving correctly. It has the correct mobility at certain joints and the correct stability at joints. As soon as we start to sit all day long in school and so forth for the next 12 years in school and then 4 years in college and then maybe at our office all day long, we just destroy our ability to move correctly. So we want to do some things that move. And when we take a look at our bodies, we take a look at it as a stacked system. So the ankle joint is supposed to be very mobile. So we will do some movement patterns, some exercise that's going to improve our ankle mobility. So from ankles mobile, then it's stacked on top of that is the knee joint. The knee joint is very stable, but then you get to the hip joint. And the hip joint, as you can probably just tell, should be very mobile. It should be able to move in all different planes of motion. So we're going to do something that's going to work on your hip mobility. Then, so we have the ankles mobile, the knees stable, the hip is mobile, the lumbar spine, your low back is very mobile. And then you get to the thoracic spine. We want to make sure that the thoracic spine has some great mobility in it. That's where you should have your rotation. So we're going to do some thoracic spine mobility work. Once we work on the mobility with a few exercises, we're going to work on stability to make sure that we can maintain that mobility when we do an activity or an exercise. So we'll do some hip stability exercises that's going to help make sure that the lumbar spine stays stable. We're going to do some thoracic mobility work to make sure that that takes place, that stability takes place as we do our exercises. One of the keys to this mobility stability idea is that if a joint is not moving correctly, if your ankle joint doesn't move correctly, it may affect your knee joint. If your hip joint's not moving correctly, it could affect your knee or your lumbar spine. The pain can occur above or below that joint. So we want to make sure that they're moving correctly and it's all part of our warm-up. Everybody wants to feel better. Everybody wants to move better. That's one of the keys. From there, we go into some more dynamic movements, some movements that are going to mimic our workout. We often say that our workouts look like our warm-up and our warm-up look like our workouts because we do the same movement patterns in our warm-up that we're going to do in the workout. If you've ever done any lifting weights before, any kind of resistance training, you'll find that your second set is typically your best set. That's because the body is turned on early. The body knows, hey, you know what? I just did a dumbbell press, and now I'm going to go do it again. I need to be able to recruit these certain muscle fibers to do that again correctly. So in our warm-up, we want to do some movement patterns that are going to mimic the workout. So when we get into the workout, we don't have to wait for our second set to be our best set. We're going to start right out of the gate with our first set being a good set. And finally, we'll do some movements that will get the heart rate up, a little bit of blood flowing into the body so we're warmed up and get ready for our workout. So that is 12 to 15 exercises. That takes about 10 minutes to do. We've done all this stuff. I'm working with somebody new, and I say, okay, we just finished our warm-up. Why don't you grab a drink? And they're like, that was our warm-up? We have more to do? Yes, we have more to do from that point. From that point, we're going to get into our workouts. But that 15 minutes is extremely important for injury prevention and performance to be able to get the results that you're looking for during your workout. If you're going to come and you're going to be coached and you're going to work out, why not be as efficient and as safe as possible? So that's one of the keys there. This time of the year, we get some people that haven't exercised in a long time, maybe haven't exercised in years, maybe have never exercised. And when the tendency is to do more than you need to do to make gains. Let's face it, it didn't take you one workout or 1 week or 1 month to get out of shape. It's not going to take you one workout, 1 week or 1 month to get into shape. Certainly after a month's time, we can start to feel better. We can start to move better. We can start to see some gains. But too much is the wrong thing to do. Like in many other areas, more is not better. So our first workouts, I always sit down and talk to the client and say, listen, this is what we're going to do today. Excuse me. If an exercise is too hard, let me know. I'm going to make it easier. If an exercise is too easy, that's okay, because you haven't moved in a long time. Let's let it be a little bit easier today. Let's get used to our culture. Let's get used to what we do. Let's make you feel good when we're done. Let's have some energy when we're done. Let's make sure that the next day that you're not so sore that you can't sit down and go up and down the stairs. Let's make it so that when you're done, you're like, hey, this wasn't that bad. I'll come back and do this again. Because if you continue to come back and do it again and again, you're going to make gains. Consistently, like everything else in life, is one of the keys to making gains. So let's be consistent. So let's get done with our workouts. Let's feel good. Let's feel like we'd like to do this again. Let's make sure the next day we're not too sore. Let's feel like maybe we did a little something. That's what we're looking for, especially when we're coming out of the gate here at the beginning of the year. You don't want to be finished with your workout and feel exhausted. You don't want to be finished with your workouts and have to go home and take a nap. You don't want to be finished with your workout and then tomorrow not be able to move or walk. None of that is fun. Nobody likes to do that. The few people that do like to be sore is a special breed. I personally, I don't like to be sore either. So I'm going to make my workouts. Am I back? Because I lost me again. Our internet connection today is not good. So hopefully I'm back on and you can hear me. So then we get into our workout and we do a little core exercise. We do some power work. We do some balance work. And we do some strength training. And we're done. We do one set of each thing. And then we look up at the clock. We do a little stretching at the end. And we say, wow, it's 50 minutes. That 50 minutes went by like that. It wasn't that bad, was it? It was 50 minutes of movement and activity and strength training. Movement patterns that make you move better and feel better. From there, we will build upon that the next time you come in. We'll figure out, hey, how did you feel? Were you a little too sore? Can we work a little bit harder? And we build from there. We don't try to go from the bottom rung of the ladder to the top rung of the ladder in 1 week's time, in one workout's time. We try to progress along what we call, all right, so I can't remember what we call, progressively overload the systems. As we slowly overload them, when it takes some time to get into shape. If this is going to be a lifestyle change, let's not try to get it done overnight. You're not going to be able to get it overnight. Let's just work our way into it so we get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. Before you know it, you've made some real strides. You've made some real gains. So if you're out there and you're not in this area, not in this region, and you're just getting started, start off slowly. Be done. Feel like you can do this again, like you want to do it again. I also want to talk a little bit about how we address the body and how we address a workout. So we do some core exercises, some specific core exercises. We know that exercise can help lose fat. Exercise is going to tighten you up, but exercise is not necessarily going to get all the fat on your belly. That comes from your diet. So don't go to the gym and just do core exercises. You don't need to do them ab class. That is not going to tighten your abs up, okay? You need to work the overall body with big muscle groups. So when we build our workouts, we think about this. The lower body moves 4 ways. It hip hinges like a deadlift. It does a squat motion. It does a lunge motion, and it does a single leg stance motion. Those 4 movement patterns. So on 2 days of your workout, we do 2 of those motions, and the other 2 days we do those other 2 motions. So we make sure that the body is getting all the movement patterns and building all the movement patterns that it should to be able to move better and become stronger and get all the benefits of exercise. When we take a look at the upper body moves either a horizontal push, a vertical push, horizontal row, vertical row. That's the only 4 ways the upper body moves. So we make sure that in our workouts, we do 2 of one and then 2 of the other. And we combine those together in our workouts, along with some more corrective exercises to be able to move better, so that as we go through our workouts, we build in some rest period by using corrective exercises, so we're not wasting time. And we make sure that the body gets all the movement that it's supposed to get and strengthened in all the different ways and designs that it should be strengthened. We do some core exercises. We do power exercises because we know that the muscle fibers that we lose as we age are fast twitch muscle fibers. So you need to do some power stuff. Very, very important. We like to build in some balance because as we age, we start to lose some balance, and then we get into our strength programs. It's a full, complete program. It's not just going to a gym, jumping on a treadmill or an elliptical or something like that for 20 minutes or 15 minutes or 5 minutes and then going around in a circuit. When you get on those machines, they isolate our body parts. They don't work the body overall like your body moves all day long. We only use machines for one movement pattern. Typically, that's pull motions. Everything else, we're using exercises that force you to build your core strength while developing the strength in the targeted movement pattern. That's the key to this. That's one of the keys to it. So when we squat, we don't sit on a machine and just push our legs. Yeah, that's fun. That's great. But that's not going to help you be able to squat better in real life, picking up those groceries. Okay, it doesn't translate to that. Same thing with all the other machines. You're just working a muscle group. You're not really developing the strength that your body uses in everyday life, in normal life, in movement patterns. So when I'm all done with that new client or someone who hasn't worked out here in a long time or anywhere in a long time, and we're done with that program for that day, and we do some static stretching. We always make sure we get enough water. We make sure that we're going to get some post-workout nutrition, things like that. But think of that day as something that you want to try to repeat and you want to do it again. Think of the day in the workout as something that, hey, I felt like I did some work, but it's not so much that I want to be so sore that I'm not going to want to do it again. And people are very surprised. Now, we will go through the workout and they'll feel like they did something. And sometimes, they'll say, wow, I can start to feel that in my legs already. But our goal is really 2 days from now for you to be able to feel something. If it's one day, we might have worked you too hard. 2 days is really what the goal is. And if doing a single set in the beginning is one of the keys. Don't try to do too much. Don't do too much. You're not going to make gains. You can't, the body doesn't change that much that fast. So have fun while you're doing it. Enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy the process. There's only a few of us that really like to exercise, so don't say, oh, I hate to exercise. Yeah, most people hate to exercise. But they know that when they're done, they're going to feel better. And the toughest thing is to get to the coaching center. But once you're here, with you working out, with your friends, with your peers, knowing that you'll be sufficient, knowing that you're reducing your risk for injury, that's what it's all about. And that's what you should focus on. Focus on the process. You will get to your outcome if you focus on that process. So I'm hoping that everyone is back out into their facilities, exercising, wherever that may be, whether it's in your house or your friend's house or at another gym or right down here at the coaching center, where we're going to give you the best possible program for you to achieve those goals. But get back to those goals. Make sure you're going in the right direction. Think about what I said with your exercise program. If you're doing the same thing you did even a year ago, certainly if you're doing the same thing when you go to your workouts that you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you're not doing the right stuff. You're not being efficient. Something is not really better than nothing. You might as well be doing what you need to do. Find a professional, someone that knows what they're doing, someone that's going to put you through the correct paces to prepare you for your workout. And then once you're doing your workout, it's correct. And when you're done, they're taking care of you at the end. So if you have any questions, certainly post them here or give me a call. I'd be more than happy to help anybody with anything I can help them with. Thanks for spending a little of your afternoon with me. Look for us next Tuesday with more insight on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better. And thanks for watching.